Hello everybody, Vicky here. This is our little die cut, I don't know, maybe a little series. But remember I said that I was going to be getting our stuff out off the shelves, using those beautiful papers, using everything we've got, and using our die cut stencils, etc. Because we've got them, but we're kind of just getting into this little bit of a not a rut. No, so, like I said, if you've seen the other ones, I'm sorry. I just don't know quite what order these videos are going to come out. So let's shake it up a little bit. Let's use it all. And if we find we use it and we don't like it, somebody might see that you've got it and might really like it, and you might be able to gift it or exchange it or the such like that. Now, I am using printables today, and I am going to give my apologies right off the bat. I've mixed and matched some digitals, and I didn't write down on each piece of paper who was who, and that's really not fair to the creators. So I'm pretty absolutely sure, maybe, that this is the Paper Daisy, the Rose Garden kit, which is part of that. And then I've got this one here, and it starts getting a little bit, I think this could, oh no, here we go. Now, bless these guys. This is SVG Designs. So I would be quite happy for that to be on every sheet. That I know it's an extra step for people, I'm sorry, but my request is that for every sheet I print out, I know it's extra work for you and it's extra ink for me, but it means I can honour the person that did it. So these are SVG, and these beautiful ones here. So you can kind of tell what goes together. So I think I've left I've put a page. It doesn't. Okay, so these ones, I'm thinking, oh, please don't be cross with me. So I've written down Digi and SVG, which is the one I just showed you, Len Art Studio. Now, Art is Len Art, capital A, and he's got an E on the Art Studio, the Journal Boat, and Snapdragon. Now, some of those I haven't used. I've got them off to the side for the next thing we're going to be doing. So hopefully that is enough information for you to track through and to find these beautiful papers. I know I need to be better. I just did a whole bunch of printing in one go, and I should have been writing on each piece of paper. So we'll leave it there, and I'll try and do better. So what we've got today is we're going to make a little file, a little die cut. So it is, I believe it is Uniquely Creative. I've got it in one of my little, these are great, these plastic things. If you go over to Sue's Paper Inspiration Shop, she sells these and they fit in, obviously. And I have put Uniquely Creative there so I know that that's what it is. So I'll get cranking, and I'll tell you about our little adventures and exploits. And in the telling of this story, there was injury. There was no death. Don't make light of that either. And there were just little adventures along the way. So what happened? What happened in this house last week, which is now why I'm behind? Hope you can hear me over the cranking. We have a curious incident of the cat. The curious incident of the cat, you may well ask. Well, let me tell you. So today is Thursday of the next week. So Tuesday a week ago, we had to take Miss Pippa, our Moggy, to the vet because poor old Miss Pip has been acting differently. And I've been saying to Graham, there's something wrong. And don't mind me, just look away. I have a huge amount of problem trying to get things in the up and down orientated. So just look away. Oh, you don't have to. I know it's shot, aren't I? So anyway, what happened? Curious incident of the cat. Pips had to go to the vet because I was really worried about her. I thought that it might have been, like I have been told by somebody, I think maybe my sister-in-law said to me that when a cat eats a lot, it's a precursor to them having diabetes. Now, I have no idea. That's what Nettie told me. So she would have read it somewhere. She wouldn't have just made it up. So I was really worried about it because she's eating like 3 sachets of food a day. And it's like when she goes, because we've got the hounds. I keep her. I've got an upright washing machine, so I keep her food up there because you can imagine her food being on the floor with this pair around that like they've never been fed before, so they have to go and snitch their sisters. And I've got a front loader, so it's 600 off the ground. I'll tell you why that's funny later. It really is a very long story. So everybody knows how to do this. So we're just doing something while I'm chatting, really. Anyway, I must not digress. It's quite long. So she's got to go to the pet, Graham, and she has had cat flu before. And she sneezes and it just breaks your heart listening to the poor little thing. She just starts sneezing and she just can't stop. So she needed antibiotics for that. So off to the vet she was going. Now she's you've seen her jump up here and have smooches with me. She's a very gentle, very well behaved cat, we believe, because she's never actually ever forgotten what it was like to be abused. So anyway, Graham got the cat carrier and he put it out on the patio table, under the patio out the back. I guess he was thinking he didn't want it on the dining table, which would have been totally fine by me. But anyway, he decided that he would do that. And he got it, and then we're like, oh, where's Pip? The next thing, and her appointment was at 4, and this is like 3:30. So just as he was saying that, like he's standing at the glass sliding door that goes out onto our patio, Miss Pip strolls in. So I said to him, quick, just lock the door or shut the door so she can't get out. Because she's been a little bit evasive. She hasn't been jumping up and saying hello to me and generally frightening me and interrupting our crafting sessions, so forth and so on. And just give me a big shout about don't be so mean if I start grumbling about her doing it again, because it's just such a relief that she's okay to do it. But anyway, Graham picks her up. Now, the Mutleys, who think that they get no attention at all, saw that Miss Pippa was in Graham's arms and he's hanging on to her. So he sort of like knows he's got her back feet so that she doesn't get startled and scratches him. She started getting uptight because the dogs were carrying on. I'm about to like speak to the dogs and get them out of the way, and Graham's held Pippa close into his body to try and stop her from scrambling around and not getting her feet. Well, she bit him. A couple of really, really bad bites, and one particular one is right next to the bone and through to the bone. And I don't know, on one thumb he had, I don't know, about maybe 6. I can't be 100% sure now, actual puncture marks. Like, she seriously bit him really, really badly. So he had bad scratches all across his hand. He had a couple of little, we don't know whether or not they were the claws. They were her claws there. And then the left, fortunately, it was the left, I guess. There were puncture marks all over this thumb. And I don't drive. I haven't driven for... I have a license. I'm qualified to drive. I just sort of like am a little bit anxious these days, and it's best to sort of, I choose choose not to, I guess. It's not that I can't. So anyway, he's rattled. We get her into the case, and Graham's like, he's in a lot of pain by now because she ended up latching onto him and she didn't let go. She didn't just bite him and lift her teeth out. Her teeth stayed in his thumb. So she's like, help. He's like, help me. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then we figured out what was happening. So we got her into her little carrier. And he was like really, as you would be, quite shaken up. And we thought, well, you can't drive, not when you're like this. And his hand was a real mess. It was a serious mess. So I've gone, right, I'm just going to have to drive. So drive I did. We drove down to the vets. And the vet, an absolutely beautiful young man, took one look at Graham and said, you have to go to the hospital or the medical centre now. You cannot leave those marks because obviously they've been bitten there before. So he gave us the name of, because to get to our normal GP practice in the hospital we go to, it means we've got to go on the freeway. It's 4 o'clock, it's peak hour. I haven't driven very much, a bit scary. For O'Brien, I don't think he thought he could be a passenger in the car. Bless his heart, but he didn't say that. So anyway, he told us the name of the medical centre to go to. We went up to and he said to us, I'll tell you about Pippa. He said, because she was flicking her tail and she'd totally lost her sense of humour, the poor little thing. She was in pain, as it turns out. She was upset, tail twitching. And we told what was going on. And he thought, oh, well, maybe she's got a hypothyroid problem. So he said, looking at you, what I'm going to do is we're going to keep Pippa overnight. I'm not going to charge you for her stay because if I keep Pippa, you can go straight to the medical centre now. So he was really adamant that we had to go up. I'd put peroxide all over it and tried to get some of the germ, or at least the surface germs, off. Apparently cat bites are worse than dog bites. So anyway, to the medical centre we went, and the doctor looked at it. He got a tetanus shot. Of course, none of us are ever up to date with our boosters, are we? So he got the tetanus shot. They put the saline in all around it and tried to get into it because they actually puncture wounds. They weren't open wounds. So they did that. Wrapped him up, tetanus, had to be called into the chemist. It was just really wonderful. It's this big medical centre that's got a big triage unit section there. So, and then we walk out of the doctor where the doctor is, and the chemist is just under the same roof, just across the way. So we got his antibiotics, got some painkillers because we don't have a lot of painkillers in this house other than my stuff, which you're not allowed to swap drugs anyway. But so we got him some Nurofen Plus or whatever, paracetamol, whatever the lass said it was the best thing for us to give him. And we come on home and they said, now you have to come back on Thursday to get it checked. And I have the OT, a beautiful young man that comes here to help us with OT. So after Daniel left, we jumped in the car and we went off down to the medical centre to get it checked because we were given so many warnings. But no, I didn't tell you what's wrong with Pips. So, okay, so we're at Thursday, so we'll go back. He kept Pippa overnight. He sedated her. They took bloods. They x-rayed her. And this poor girl, down towards the back of her spine, just up from the tail, sort of like the end, she has got great lumps of bone. She's got arthritis so bad that her body is making more bone. It's what they do. They know that they've got an injury there, so she's her body's trying to fix it for her. And he said it would just be so painful for that poor thing. So it was an explanation, because like I said, she's never once ever looked threatening. She will do everything she can to get out of your way, rather than strike out at you. And if you do corner her, she will just sort of like go into her little shell and won't move or respond until she can get away. That's how she deals with not being, or the kids want to pat her, or that's her defence. It's never to strike out ever. That's why we got caught out. So anyway, everything else is fine. Her bloods are okay. Don't know why she's eating so much, and yet she looks quite thin. She is thin. She is as light as a feather, and I know how much she's eating. So the upshot of that is every month they've got a new drug out now, for the cat, I guess for cats, dogs. I don't know whether or not it's for dogs as well. That it's pain relief, so about $150 a month, because apparently there's only one manufacturer at the moment that's manufacturing this, so of course they can charge whatever they want to. But if it's going to give her relief, we really feel passionate about making sure that Pippa has a really good life, as we can, because she had such a terrible start, and we don't even know, because we didn't know her before she come to us. She just come without a story one day and stayed with us forever. But we know by her behaviour and that she had a bit of a problem with her heart when we could get her checked by a vet when she was legally ALS, and they reckon that she had a heart murmur. But in late, I don't know about that, because they haven't been able to find one with her. So we got her home on, so that was Tuesday. So we went down and picked her up on Wednesday. Yes, we went and got her on Wednesday. The young man was really pleased to see that Graham had been to the doctor, and we said that we had to go tomorrow, and he was just so insistent. And then the vet nurse said, I got bitten by a cat like that, and I was in hospital for a week. And we're like, okay, that's a bit scary. So after Daniel went on Thursday, we bopped off back to the doctor, and they've unwrapped it, and he's looked at it, and he's gone, you have to go to the hospital now. They're going to have to get in there and scrape the bone, because it was all red and angry, and it was throbbing for him. It was really sore. Clearly there was an infection going on internally, and he'd been on antibiotics pretty much within 3 hours of it happening. So we don't, I will confess, we do have private health cover, and we go to the private hospital that's still down on the coast. So we're still talking a freeway trip away, which isn't a big problem except for my lack of driving. So anyway, feeling pretty bad about that. Just going to get a topper, something a bit brighter to make it stand out a bit, I think. So anyway, go to the hospital straight away. Well, there's no private hospitals around here, so we went to the public hospital here, and to say that we would be naive and live in our own closeted little world and not really knowing what's out there in the world we so we went to the hospital. Now I will clarify this very strongly. The staff are absolutely beautiful. And although we saw some weird sights, I mean, shoes are optional, people that didn't look like they couldn't get dressed to walk around in jammies and dirty, and yeah, so I'm a snob, so I'm sorry. So I was just agog. Well, we both were, because we got there before, somewhere between 1:30 and 2, and we sat, and we sat some more, and we sat some more, and we finally got in behind the big doors. We progressed in the queue at about 6. So now it's dark. The car's at the hospital. We don't know what's going on with Graham. And to get to the hospital from the medical surgery, we basically had to go past home. So we called in because we thought, well, I'll need my little walker, because hospitals means you've got to walk a lot, and I unfortunately can't really do that. And then I've said to Graham, let's just pack an overnight bag. He's like, no, we won't need to do that. They'll just open it up and cut it and sluice it out, and I'll be home. I said, no, just in case. So we packed a bag with jammies and dressing gown and whatnot. For some reason, we forgot his ventilator, so he was there without that. So anyway, the nurse, big nurse, 6'4", not bad looking either, girls, came and saw to him and said, yep, we'll see the doctor. So we went from one side of where behind the doors to go and sit in a recliner, and they had a chair there where I could sit next to him. So that was another hour or so, and the doctor came over. And we're not being neglected at all. Everybody was just busy doing their jobs. There was calm in there in the treatment area. I mean, it was just crazy out in the waiting room. We sat over in the corner with our backs to the wall, feeling just a little bit. But anyway, there was no trouble there. It was just all in our imagination, and just obviously a bit sheltered. So they sat him in a recliner, and they'd put a cannula in, and they said, right, you're not going home tonight. We're going to start you with intravenous, with IV antibiotics, and you're going to have to go to theatre. So they're going to have to open that thumb up and get down into where the bone is and clean it out. It will be done. He'll be on the surgery list tomorrow. So there were no beds. At one stage during the night, they got him up, and he was able to go in and sleep on one of the beds in emergency while waiting for a bed. And I'm like, said to the nurse before I left, I said, he is going to have a room of his own, isn't he? She's looked at me, and she said, not unless he's got this, that, or other, and rattled off a whole lot of letters that meant something to her. And I'm there thinking, well, I'm not sure what that one is. So he hasn't got that. I know he's got none of them. What possibly could he have? Sort of scheming in my devious little mind about trying to fix the system. And she looked at me and she said, it is a public hospital. he won't be in a room on his own. And I've gone, oh, that's okay, I was just checking. And when she realised I wasn't trying to, make a big deal of it or be horribly out of line by assuming that we're better than everybody else, which I suppose, I don't know. I just wanted him in on his own because I knew that he'd be fine, but for whatever reason. Now we've cut those, so now these are just the easiest little thing, aren't they, to have for ephemera. So anyway, so it's about 8 o'clock at night, and on the Thursday night, you're not going home. This is what's happening. Yeah, we've got the deal. You'll be on the surgery list tomorrow. You'll go in tomorrow. They'll clean it up, and we'll go from there. So at that stage, when we got to the hospital, we'd had our breakfast, but then we kind of went on lunchtime. So when we came back home from the medical centre, Graham grabbed a banana as we walked out the door, and he's like, found out everything that's going on, and as I'm leaving, he says, "Oh, do you think I could get something to eat, please?" And she comes back and she said, "I'm really sorry, we've only got tuna." And Graham's gone, "Done, fine, nothing wrong with tuna." So had a tuna sandwich, and I don't know what else. So he was sorted. So then I had to get home. So he's sitting there, like everybody's sitting next to each other, like it's in the lounge room, and he's like, he's had to explain to me, and this is embarrassing, okay? You'll have to forgive me for my sins. He had to explain to me what I had to do with the parking ticket, how to put it in, and you use your credit card, you don't use money, and it's hopeless. And like, I actually am classified night blind, so don't tell anybody that. I'm not blind, obviously, but I have a great deal of difficulty with perception, like distance perfection, and if the lights of an oncoming car get me in the eyes, my eyes take a long time to readjust again. So it's always a little bit tricky when so we were driving home on the Thursday night from the medical centre. Graham was with me, and that was dark too. And I'm like Mr. Magoo, and I'm driving along, and I think I'm doing splendidly. You know, I've got a half a car's length, a car length in front of me before the next car. That's what you do. I don't like sitting in people's boots. And I'm driving along, and all of a sudden this car comes across from the other lane. So I put my foot in the brake a little bit, thinking, oh, that's going to be a bit close. And then pretty much straight away, another one come in. I said to Graham, how far away was I from that car in front before they came into the lane? He's gone, yeah, probably a good 7, 8 cars back. And I've gone, it's interesting. I thought I was a car length behind him. So fortunately, I erred on the side of not being in his boot. But yeah, so that's a bit of a worry. And then when we came off the main road there into our little streets, it's dark, and I'm almost sitting over the steering wheel at this stage, trying to drive. And he just looks at me and he says, "You're as blind as a bat, girl." So I got us home, so I don't know what the problem was. So anyway, on the Friday, he had to have nil by mouth from 12 o'clock Thursday night. So his tuna sandwich had to go a long way, and he didn't make it into theatre. It's a trauma hospital, but they've also got birthing suites there as well. So if something's going wrong with a delivery, and then they have ambulances going in there all the time. Things like cat bites get pumped back and back. But he was on the antibiotics, so that at least was something. I think he was getting a bag of antibiotics every 6 or 8 hours or something to help with the infection while waiting. And then I spoke, because we said that we stay at home on a Friday. There's nothing you can do, and if you get here, and I might be whisked away. And then I have to get home before it's dark anyway, because it really is crazy pushing that the way we do. So we decided that Friday I'd just hang out at home, and it got to just before 4:30, I think, around there. He's rung me and said, "Yeah, I'm not going in today. I will be going in tomorrow." So he was feeling a little bit upset and a bit vulnerable. Plus, he didn't have his ventilator, and he'd spent a fair bit of time sleeping on the Friday just because there was just nothing else to do. So I was worried about him not having that. So my beautiful girl next door, Abby, I was going to catch a taxi, But she was actually here at Ground Zero when it all happened. She'd just come across because she needed something. I don't know what it was anyway. She thought she was here. So she saw it all unfold the same way I did. So she knew that there was trouble brewing, and she said, "You ring me, just get me. I can help. I can get you to and from the hospital. Whatever you need, we're here." Because she's such a beautiful girl. So I was going to get a cab, and then I remembered what Abby said to me, and it's really hard because you just want to be just independent. You don't. I mean, it was around meal time with the kids, and you don't. And her dad's there, so she didn't have to bring the kids out. Otherwise, I would have called a cab. And no problem at all. I just got organised and got a couple of things together for him. I didn't have much in the way of snack type food because we don't really have that much of that sort of thing in this house. So she took me up and dropped me off, and then later on I rang and she came back and got me. So he was feeling a little bit out of sorts, and anyway, I get there and I've got like rice cracker chips in my bag and a couple of other things, nothing. Oh, I took his crunchies up for him, a bag of crunchies. He loves crunchies. And then I'm about to go into the ward, and then I thought, oh, the vending machine's there. I wonder, I haven't got any money in my purse, so it's probably not much use to me. Well, it doesn't take, I don't even know if it takes money now, but it had a credit card thing there. Well, I conquered. Oh dear, it would have been funny, somebody watching me. But they have like more healthy options in them now. Like there were crackers and cheese, and there was crackers with a caramelised onion relish. That was very nice, actually. But the thing that gets me is they're trying to be nice and healthy, but they've got twisties. Twisties in there. Twisties are carcinogenic. They've got one of every chemical known to mankind. But no, twisties it was. So I didn't get him twisties. I got him some crackers, and I got him a drink and a couple of other things. And I'm sort of like, when someone's near you, kind of like, and I'm not really good at with people anymore. So I'm at the vending machine, and this lady, she's just getting closer to me and a little bit closer, and she's sort of hopping from one foot to the other, and I looked at her and she looked at me and she said something, and she was a mummy. Her 13-year-old boy had been bitten by a dog, and he was in theatre, and she was outside down from where the theatre is. And before I knew it, I don't know how it happened really, I've got her in my arms, giving her a hug and giving her a little pat on the back, and she's like just burst out into the raking sobs in her body. I gave her a cuddle and said, "You let go when you're ready. I'm here. Don't try and stop crying. Let it all out." And then she sort of like got a little bit of composure again, and then a dude in theatre get up came towards her while I'm gathering all my bits and pieces. I tell you, I don't pack that much for short holidays. Trying to wrangle it all in, and the man, the theatre nurse or doctor, whoever he was, came out, and as I was just about to go, he said, "It's all good news." So apparently the dog got all flesh. So I heard that, though I didn't feel bad about trying to make my escape. Poor darling, she's just there on her own, and we've all got kids, haven't we? Or those of us that do. Well, it doesn't matter whether they're kids or family. It's dreadful to see them hurting. So anyway, I went off down to Graham, and then I rang, and Abby came and got me. So on Saturday, I thought, this is ridiculous. I've got a perfectly good car sitting out there in the carport. I haven't driven on my own for over 2 years. It can't be that difficult. use the premise of you can get back on the bike. I did drive when he was in the car, suck it up, get on with it. So I did. So I drove down Saturday, and was that Friday? No, Saturday. I went down Saturday, and I even called into the supermarket. I haven't been in a supermarket since before COVID on my own. So I've lived a pretty closeted life these last few years, and I've been quite comfortable in them. But I tell you what, it's a great wrench when you've got no choice but to be an adult and get on with it. So I went to the supermarket. I got some more stuff for Graham, and I got back, and that was all good. Had a visit. He's still waiting to go into theatre. This is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He's still nil by mouth, so he couldn't. I didn't show him any of the goodies I had for him because that just would have been mean. I had muffins, and I got some shortbread and just all around comfort food for him. I got grapes and bananas and mandarins. I didn't know what he'd want, so I got him a big bottle of orange juice, stuff like that. So anyway, I ended up leaving because we decided that I need to be home before dark. On the Thursday night when I came home, I got lost that first night, and it was Graham rang while I was in the car, and I didn't answer the phone quick enough, but it comes up on the display where I can just press a button that says I'm driving or I'm still driving. So I got lost trying to come home, and I figured out how to use the sat nav that's in the. Oh, here's Pippa here as we speak. I wonder if she hasn't been jumping up. Louis, you leave her alone. Go on, you go away. Don't be jealous. She's allowed to come in here. Yeah, she's been too scared to have pets. Go away. Pippa's underneath me, and the dogs are like, yeah, no, you don't talk to her when we're here. So apparently what had happened was this, is with Graham explaining to me what I had to do and how to do it, and the people on all the lounge chairs that are sitting around him has picked up on our little mini saga. And they're all saying, is she home yet? Is she home yet? She should be home by now. Is she home yet? Sorry, that's just Louis carrying on like, Louis, please don't. Anyway, the whole lot of them are all sitting there feeling sick and varying degrees of diagnosis, and they're all like, I don't know whether or not they actually put any money on it, made a betting ring or whatever you call it. when I don't know what you call it. Like when baby's born, you say it's going to be born on the 26th, it's going to be £5.6, and it's going to be a boy, that sort of thing. But I got lost. That was on the Thursday night. But I've spent most of my life lost. I have the worst sense of direction. I'm sure someone's worse than me somewhere, so I won't say anybody, but it's pretty bad. And I had all the doors locked. I didn't know where I was. And I just pulled over. The thing when I get lost is I just keep driving with the traffic. I don't swerve across lanes to get there or to go somewhere different. I just keep driving until it's safe for me to be able to pull over and call for help. Or these days with the NatSav. So I figured out how to put home in. Oh no, I didn't. I just put my suburb in. And off I went, and I got home, and of course, because I got lost, it was taken longer than it should have. I don't know whether there was a collective cheer and clapping when I rang and said I was home. I doubt it. So I had a wonderful, healthy dinner. I by a weakness of mine, love dim sims. So in the winter time, I have some in the freezer. And most of the time I forget we forget we've got them, but I steamed some dim sims for me and the lads. So we had dim sims, and they were a bit confused about where Graham was. But then on Saturday, so I got there fine. Oh, that was another thing, you say about you look at people, and it's like I had to walk out of the hospital on my own, try and find where the car was, and get on home. And of course, the bloke next to me has just been discharged, and he's gone, I'll come with you. He got me to the lift, and he had to go a totally different direction, and he was just going to come to the car with me. Yeah, he was committed. I said, no, I'll be fine now. He was so sweet. I thought that was lovely. So anyway, I got to get to the car. I got to the car park, multi-level car park, figured out what level the walkway was on, did all that, left the parking ticket in the car because I didn't realise that you pay at the paying stations before you go, but that was not a big deal. I just had to go back to the car on the way home and get my ticket, go down another level to pay for it again. So it was all pretty straightforward and easy. Mastered the ticketing machine. I tell you what, if you can work your way through a vending machine, paying for tickets and putting them in it's piss cake. So, what's really scary is in the next bit, I actually was the grown-up that knew what was going on. So I get in the car. I've done an extra lap around the car park because I missed the exit, and I thought there is no exit. I'm just going to drive round and round until I run out of fuel. So I did another drive round, found the turn that I had to make to continue to go out, because if you miss the turn, you just get go round and round and round. And I pull up behind one of those minivan things that it's not a commercial bus, but it's along those sizes. I don't know, 13-seater or something. I don't know. And you wouldn't believe that. This poor lady in front of me, she's like got a ticket and she's putting it in and getting it out and putting it in, and she was having all sorts of trouble. And I'm like, no, don't look at her. Just keep your face nice and relaxed. Don't look like you're getting angry, because that's just going to stress her out even more. So she's like waving. I thought when she started waving this $20 bill around, I've gone, okay. So she knows about as much about this stuff as I do. And it's really very cheap parking there. Really cheap. So I'm thinking, how bad could it be? So I got out of the car, went round the back where I put my little walking Zimmer frame, old lady Zimmer frame. I thought I left my handbag in there with us. Like, oh, okay. Did I leave my handbag at the pay station? Panic? No, it's in the back seat where you put it a bit, just calm the farm. It's all good. So me, who didn't have a clue a day before, I go up to this lady, I grab my purse and I get my credit card and I go up and I just said, do you have a bit of trouble? She said, yeah, I don't know where to put the money. And I said, well, I don't honestly think it takes money. I said, where's your ticket? And while she's trying to tell me what's going on, I got her just to eject a ticket and put it back again. And then I just tapped my credit card and the burn gate come up. And she's like, I think it was like maybe $5. And she's got like $20 note and she's been waving around and she's trying to give it to me. And I'm like, I don't want your money. I said, I really just don't want your money. It's just, it's $5. It's worth that for me not to have to reverse out. I didn't really think like that, to tell you the truth. And she was just, I said, just pay it forward. When you get the opportunity, you do something nice for somebody else. Well, she was an Islander lady, beautiful lady, big. She was a big lady. So she's got the van and she's driving out and she's going, God bless you, God bless you, and she's beeping the horn and like leaning out the window, and I'm like, Oh, please don't. I've got to get round the corner and I'm going to drag you out of the car because you just ran it into a pole. God bless you. Oh, she thought I was just wonderful. So it doesn't really take a lot. I always say, be kind. And I guess that was me practicing what I preach. So we got that sorted. I got home before it was dark, no other incident. And it's like, it's just in this house, it's crazy. It's not just a case. There's another lad that's going to be scraped up from the road, the way he rides that motorbike, honestly. It's horrendous. I worry about, I don't even know who he is, but I worry about him. He's going to end up not being in good shape, and that frightens me for him. But anyway, that's different add-on there. Resident silly boy who thinks he's invincible. So I think that was the only, and then I'm getting ready to go up on Sunday, and Graham rings me and says I'm off. So I didn't get done Saturday. He's still there. He's still getting the antibiotics via the IV. He's not on any painkillers. He said it settled down enough that he didn't really need any help. So they finally, and I've gone, right, that's good. I got up, I can't put clothes on the line, and then I thought, well, he's not going to be able to peg them. So I did a load of clothes and put them through the dryer. But I'm a bit funny about the dryer. I don't like going out and leaving the dryer going. It's just, I'm not like that with anything else. It's just the dryer concerns me. Okay, I think that'll work. So all I've done is we've cut our little file. I've put the tab on it. I'm just going through and gluing them all now. So this is a mass make, isn't it? And then we'll go back and find something to put on that. It's not riveting watching, but yeah, I'm entertained. I haven't drawn breath yet, so I don't know whether or not I'm entertaining you or driving you crazy. So that got him home. So he rings and says, so I'm right. Well, because I go into theatre to have procedures, unfortunately, on a regular basis. So I'm thinking, well, that's all good. Right, 3 hours. It's about a 3-hour turnaround. And there were 2 people that were in the ward. This is a 4-bed ward, and it's really tightly packed. It's like a little claustrophobic rabbit warren where he is. And meanwhile, the staff, the nursing staff, and everything, they're just beautiful, beautiful people. And I'm running around, I'm not running around, I'm going around, I'm paid, I know, right, well, there's no point in me getting there before, I don't know, I think it was 2:30, before he'll be back out. And then at quarter to, so he was only gone in and out in an hour. What they said to him, now you can imagine that this is a Sunday, they're working on a Sunday, they're ploughing, and this is every week, because elective surgery keeps getting put back all the time because of emergencies, which is fair enough, an infected thumb when he's on antibiotics and he hasn't got temperature, and opposed to somebody who's just been cleaned up or fallen off the motorbike. So they finally got him down there, and they said, well, if we do it under a local, it means that we can patch up in a third of the time, and you can be home. You can be going home today. So Graham's going, yep, I'll have me one of those, thank you. So they did it under a local. He said that the anaesthetic, the anaesthetic needle, the needle that gave him the anaesthetic hurt. He said it hurts so bad. He just wanted to scream at him to get it out of him, and they gave him 2 or 3 of them, and he said they were just wicked. I actually think that was the most painful thing of everything. So he had that, and then he rings me within the hour and says, I'm coming home, I'm good to go. And I'm confused, and yeah, he said that they did it under the local, and he was home by mid-afternoon. So that was our curious case of the cat, people. And it's taken me 50 minutes to tell you. I normally shorten these videos because I do go on, don't I? So all I'm doing now is because they're little, I just glue around the end here, and then we can just sneak. I will cut some papers to put in there, a little bit of ephemera. So needed some. I don't know why I ended up doing this many. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11. What a ridiculous number. Anyway, I will just, what I might do is I'll stop talking now, because, man, I haven't stopped, have I? So that was our curious incident of a cat and the thumb. Pip's very ginger and tender. She's not wanting us to pick her up, and if we try, so anyway, the vet tells us that it's going to hurt her to jump. So if you've got a food up high, you're going to have to find a way to bring it down. So I thought, okay, then. So the reason why I mentioned that the washing machine is 600 high is because I was in the kitchen on the Saturday night and thought, right, I'm here. Pippa wants to eat. I can keep, like Cody. You tell him once, and he's like, he might push it a second time, but usually you tend to only have to tell him once. And I no, you can't go in there, buddy. And off he went. Lily's like, no just means it's a challenge. No doesn't actually mean no. It just means I have to find a sneaky way to do it. So he's all the time trying to get past me because I've put Pippa's food down on the tiles for her, and she's eating it from there. And Louie's like, oh man, I'm going to have me some of that. So I constantly had to run interference with him. So I'm at the bench. I was doing something, I don't know, I think I was getting my meds ready, which was another interesting thing. I haven't done my own medication for a couple of years either. Graham does it weekly and puts it into a Webster pack. So I had to figure out what meds I was on. Talk about hopeless. It just happens, girls, before we realise it. Just become crazy, stupid, dependent. And which is really good when everything's running smoothly. So anyway, she eats her dinner, and I must have just been looking at my meds or taken my eye off Louis, and all of a sudden I'm there at the bench not looking, and Pippa jumps up as easily and as lightly and as stealth-like way that cats do. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, the bench is actually higher than your food. So she could jump up on the bench. But then she went over the other side when she was done and jumped onto the stool and then onto the ground. So that was, I felt like I'd been had royally, but I'm just making sure that she can get her food, looking after her. She can't jump. I said to Graham, what I think it is that she gets a running jump. If she runs and she jumps, it's a lot easier for her. And when I think about that, that's why she was giving me such a fright when she was coming in here and jumping up, is because she was doing it from a run. And so we're all back together again. There was injury, but we're getting over it now. So Graham's got to go back on Monday and get it checked. It looks pretty fierce. So there you go, people. That's what's been happening in my house. The trip to the vet just doesn't cut it, does it? We went to the vet today. We had Pippa checked out, and then we came home. That's where normal starts and ends in this house. Anyway, So I've talked on long enough. I mean, it's nearly an hour now. So what I'll do is I will pop off because you can see this is all just the same thing. I've caught you up to speed with what's going on. I did 2 good deeds, so does that mean I get some good karma for a little while? People, like not the people that I helped, not at all, but just in general, people are exhausting. And I was so pleased, honestly, and this is probably a bad indictment on the people the person I am. And Graham, we just sat there and we were royally entertained watching the comings and goings, and I say that a little bit lightly because a lot of them there were because they needed something, but they weren't ill. So I'll just leave it at that. And there was a lot of fidgets and getting up and walking around, and the leg, the foot going, and the whole leg shaking, and just for voyeurism, like some people go and watch the aeroplanes or the trains. I tell you what, I reckon I could become a professional pickle voyeur. I was so glad that I made Graham put his mask on and I had my mask on, because there have been reports of a bit of COVID around, and it's not just the COVID now because we're in winter. I've already got 2 bad bouts of flu this year, so my body hasn't met a germ that it doesn't like. So I said, we're going to mask up, I'm sorry. And it's probably just as well because I'm sure our mouth was open. It's like, I reckon our chin was on our neck, on our chest. It's like, oh my. Oh my. So that probably saved us some awkward situations. But yeah, it's just crazy girls. But anyway, so I'll pause now. I'll finish doing this, and then I'll come back when I've got a few decorations on it. Otherwise, it's going to be a 2-hour video. I hope you enjoyed our exploits. It's just nothing's ever straightforward, is it? Nothing's ever straightforward in this house. We're going to end up getting calls from Amy going, "You did what, Mum? What was that you said you just did, Dad?" Daft old pair that we are. Anyway, the car wasn't hurt. I didn't hurt anybody else with the cars. I guess it was kind of good to know that I could do it. I am actually proud that I could step up, because it was pretty scary. So all jokes aside, Graham's finger's okay. Pip's on medication. I can be proud that I could do what had to be done. Yeah, all sorted. Okay, I'll be back.
So now we're getting into the end of our project. What I'm doing here is I'm just running some little dies through on the Big Shot. These are for the papers, like the little documents to go inside our folios, and they're little bits and pieces so that if you're using the journal yourself, have little bits of paper there that you could take out and journal on, maybe stick in a different place. Put a little bit of ephemera in there as well. You can clip that into your journal, or they make really cute little standalone happy mails, or a gift for somebody. If you've got somebody that gives gifts and uses little gift tags, you could put some in there and make that a standalone gift for somebody if you wanted to. It is quite versatile once you start thinking about the things that you can do with it. So this is just, like I said, this is all just building up some papers and some stuff to put inside our envelopes. So I've done some of this purpose cut, and I've also put in some other bits and bobs you'll see as we go along. So here I'm using the Stampers Anonymous field notes. Now, if you're looking, if you don't have a lot of stamps, if you're looking to build just a few nice things to have to use, I would recommend this Field Notes stamp. Awesome stamp. I've probably one of the most used stamp sets that I've got. And I'm just, as you can see, I'm just going through and putting something on the little tab to make it look as real as, it's like a drop file, just to give it a little bit of authenticity, I guess. If you were gifting it to somebody, you could leave these unembellished and don't stamp on the top, so that it can be whoever you're giving it to, they'd be able to personalise according to the journal that they're doing. But it's just lots of fun to do this. I love putting these together. They are just a really good way to relax and just to get some ephemera done. Now, for some reason, I'm not quite sure why, but I haven't got any footage on me doing the decorating on the front. So what happened is, because I've used a different die to do the actual file itself, the little dies I used to do the, like little faux documents ended up being just that little bit too wide. So to save things tearing and being frustrating, I've just sliced off a little bit of the at each end. And I've done it at each end because some of the little pages that I used have got a pattern on it, and it just looked more balanced to take a bit from each end. So you can see there just my elbows covering it. You can see the embellishing, the little cluster that I did on front. Like I said, I'm really not sure why I didn't get any footage, but you can see what I've done, and I'm just going through. So we're doing our little series with using our dies, and you'll see coming up just how many we're able to use once we start looking. We do spend a lot of money on getting dies and stamps and all sorts of different things, and I do it, and I'm trying to avoid doing it now. I have them all there, but it's just too much trouble to get it out just to do this one thing, and it's that stops us from using all our things. There goes that motorbike rider again. It's like it's 1 o'clock, past 1 a.m., and he's still going on. So I've gone through and I've stuffed all the envelopes now. So there you go, you can see them. And I'm not sure. No, I already showed you a bit. So we've used quite a different variety of die cuts. There you go. You would have heard that really well then. He's like up past 1 o'clock in the morning, and he's not riding safely around the curve of the road. We're in a court, so the closest he comes to us is going past us. But anyway, you can see what I've done here, using up. So this is a little video. Sorry, it's a bit long. It blew out because of my cat's story. But there you have it. If you've lasted through to the end with me, thank you very much. So I meant to put one of these little people stickers in, and I forgot. So I'm just going through all of them, and you can also see the clusters that I've put on top of them. And I'm just going through, like I've got a real thing for those little people stickers at the moment. I think they're gorgeous. So I thought, well, if I'm giving these for gifts, I want to make sure that there's one in there that you can see if people haven't seen them. So there, I'm very proud of all my there's actually 12, not 11, so I didn't have to panic about doing another one, and I'm really pleased with the way they came up, and thank you very much for joining me. I hope I've been able to give you a bit of a giggle along the way. So be kind to yourself, and please be kind to the person that's standing next to you. Until next time, bye for now.